session, and we are going to start with our Taking Positive Steps of Service Award.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So I wanted to recognize and honor Emily Pertzborn, not able to be here tonight, but I just wanted to read this off to you, and this is something I plan on sending her way. So the School District of Lodi was proud to host the annual regional math meets, welcoming 5th and 6th grade mathletes on April 29th and 7th and 8th grade competitors on April 30th. Each event brought together approximately 60 students from multiple school districts to engage in individual and team-based problem-solving challenges. And I want to give a very special thank you to Emily Pertzborn, our middle school math lead, who masterfully planned and facilitated the event. Coordinating a regional competition of this scale is no small task. And I want to thank her for her organization, communication, and leadership both days. I was there for bits and pieces of both days, and they just ran incredibly well. Her thoughtful preparation created an environment where students could confidently showcase their mathematical thinking, and fun was focused and in a well-structured setting. I had individuals, adults from various districts who were here in Lodi partaking, where their students were partaking in the competition, just come up and just being so thankful of how well it ran and it was organized. And so there was a lot of time that Emily put into that. She had a lot of collaboration with the middle school, the high school staff, even was able to loop in high school students to help evaluate the various competitions, which was really cool to see the dynamic between the middle school and high school students. You know, beyond just that event though, I want to highlight Emily overall. She serves as our 6-8 math lead. Her leadership continues to drive strong academic outcomes that you see at the middle school, and this just sustained growth in mathematics that we see. Under her guidance, the middle school math team has built a really cohesive, collaborative culture that's really reflected in student achievement. But I'll even tell you, short story, at the end of the school year, I was sitting down, we were having conversation about mathematics and just kind of praising Emily and the math department at the middle school for their great growth and achievement that they've had. And she's so focused on, but next year we're gonna, this is the next thing that we're doing to try to reach this group of students. And it's just the type of person she is. And it's just great when you have great people like that in your district. So I wanted to take a moment to honor her, send this her way where I kind of wrote that up. And
well, and I was lucky enough to be in her classroom like the last couple of years when I went and observed in the middle school. I would show up in her classroom because one year I was, can I help them? I can do algebra. Oh, can't call it algebra though. but I was in there and helping, but it's just really fun to watch because you can kind of see which kids would sort of like struggle a little bit, and it's just the way they all move together is pretty amazing.
Yeah, and they've really built in a lot of structures that really
did.
help all students develop the skills to be successful.
Yep.
We were fortunate this school year as well. The middle school team was gracious enough to have the 5th grade elementary schools and OSC staff up to better help students recognize the routines that they'll see in middle school math.
Nice.
They visited Emily's classroom so that they can try to model some of that stuff down at the lower levels.
Well, and that
She's a
doesn't
great
surprise
person.
me. She is. She puts 110% in like everything she does. So
Yeah.
I feel like our district is very lucky to have her.
So you better keep that candy bar for her.
Yeah.
Derek.
Should I hand this to Derek? He can.
I don't know, is he trustworthy with her candy bar? We don't know.
We don't know. You're so serious about it. Well, here, we have to give a round of applause for her.
She might be watching.
Okay, and we do not have a presentation. We do not have public input. So on to consent agenda. So we have our minutes, and we have our vouchers. We have fundraiser requests. We have 4 of them. And numerous fundraiser reports, which they look awesome. I'm glad that these kids.
Some of them were a bit shocking,
Yes.
how well they did.
No, that's awesome.
Which is great.
Thank you to the community. And then we have committee recommendations for approval. So our facility and finance committee is our property and liability insurance renewal. And under curriculum, we have our annual textbook approval and our draft advanced learner services plan. Under other, we have our staff handbook updates, middle school parent-student handbook updates, our summer school family guidebook, and our WIAA senior high membership renewal. And we do not have any retirements. We do have some resignations: volunteer golf coach, second grade teacher, volunteer tennis coach, primary school special education assistant, and sophomore class advisor. Under co-curricular, I am not going to read all this. If anybody is looking at this, you will appreciate me not reading it all. There's a lot on there. And under community program for crew, we have 3 lifeguards. Under regular staff, we have long-term second grade substitute, 2 of them, long-term first grade substitute, summer school teachers, 48 of them, summer school educational assistants, 27, summer school teacher, 2 of them, summer school assistants, 3, reduction in high school counselors' hours, second grade teacher, staff compensation increase, and special education assistants increase in hours, 5 of them. And under personnel, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 leave without pay request.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Terry, second by Sarah Ripp. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Right, we are on to our administrative reports. And we will start with curriculum.
I'm shocked because we're there already.
This is my opportunity, every school year I get to remind the public that we, even though it is summer break and we have our students are at home, we have many educators who continue to work diligently throughout the summer, working on ways to improve instruction and lessons for students. And so what you see here is every year we budget for a certain amount of summer curriculum hours, and staff, they put in a request for various projects that they would like to work on, whether it be as an individual or a lot of times it's in team fashion. And so what you have here is the majority of those requests that have been approved, and that those items and projects that staff will be working on this summer for summer curriculum hours. The next item, I wanted to give an update to the board. You may have seen an article or a news report on Channel 3000 about the Department of Public Instruction looking to review and update state and district school accountability report cards. This provides you some additional information that we have received from the Department of Public Instruction in regards to what that will look like. A reminder that DPI, they are somewhat limited on some of the adjustments they can make to that structure because it is set in state statute. But what they're looking to do, the kind of the gist of it right now, is they're looking to relook at the cut scores for defining where a district would fall in terms of its rating, from fails to meet expectations to exceeds expectation. And on that numeric scale, what would signify falling into one of those ranges. That's all the information I have up to this point on this process, but I'll keep you updated as DPI works through this structure this summer. And then lastly, around this time each school year, we have completed our spring district assessment window. So those are the assessments we give here internally, not the state assessments like ACT, pre-ACT forward, but our local assessments like iReady, Ames Web. And so I take that information, I put that into a kind of aggregate summary report that is shared with educators, and they get some additional details as well, so they can sit in their PLC teams before the end of the school year and discuss the great gains that they've seen students make and things they want to tweak for next school year. I also provide that information here for you, and the curriculum committee of the board and I take a deeper look at that, and we'll do so this week.
Thanks. Thank you, Nick. LCAT.
I'm sorry.
It's right next to you.
I can also read it on my big screen when I make it.
Oh, is that what you wanted? Sorry.
At the May LCAT meeting, Ellen Ellingsworth, the Columbia County Public Health Officer, presented the newly created Recovery Columbia County app. It was really cool. It's an app on the phone, and this app is free and offers various resources for individuals facing substance use issues and other needs such as housing and food. A flyer containing the QR code for downloading the app was distributed, and that flyer is like all over town right now. It's also on Peach Jar, the LCAT face page and website, and the Lodi Chamber of Commerce website. It was also provided to the school nurse and guidance staff. Additionally, physical copies of the flyer will be placed throughout the community to spread the word. Thank you to Columbia County Public Health Department for their support and partnership with LCAT. This was the best thing I've seen ever, because I think the reality for people who are struggling with addiction, food shortage, whatever it is, they're in a total mess right then. And to try to find the numbers or find the place, whatever, it's not easy. And for families that are, trying to support their friends, this app is perfect. And then out of the app are all these other links of where to go. So it's a really incredible thing. The summer, and they had developed it through some grant money, which is really great. The summer safety fair will be held alongside summer school registration on Thursday, June 12th, 2025, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. The community is invited to attend this event and engage with vendors who will provide information on keeping our kids safe during the summer break. The event is always well attended. LCAT is sponsoring a Youth Risk Behavior Survey Summit on Tuesday, July 8th. And of course, anybody would be invited to come to that from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Reach Out Lodi. These are based on the 2023 results, which is too bad it's so far behind, but it is, that were released by the Department of Instruction in April of 2025. Participants will discuss health trends among middle and high school students in our district. We will discuss topics such as mental health concerns, traffic safety, substance abuse, and much more. Lunch will be provided. Our next LCAT meeting will take place on June 18th, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. At the district office. The meeting will involve planning for the upcoming National Night Out. Please join us for this very important meeting. So,
Thank you. Student services.
Heather. The Lodi School District held Activity Day in late May. We had it here at district office. It was supposed to be at Gores Park, but the weather didn't really cooperate that day. This was the last of 9 activities that are held during the school year by the Tri-County Transition Team. So this is a cohort of staff and students in our 18 to 21-year-old program from Lodi, Baraboo, Columbus, Sauk, and Wanakee. So the goals of that Tri-County Transition Team are really kind of tethered within the 7 targets that are there, and there's also some pictures from that day. I'd like to recognize our school nursing team, Janelle and Nisha. They had a very busy end of the school year with all of the field trips and off-campus activities. They were also hard at work to get prepared for our summer activities like summer saunters and summer school. And finally, every 5 years, school districts in Wisconsin are expected to participate in the procedural compliance self-assessment. Sometimes that's known as the special ed audit. Lodi will be completing this during the upcoming school year. Our work will begin this July, at the end of July, with a team of educators and administrators coming together to get trained on how to do the audit, and then also reviewing evaluation and IEP paperwork from a random pool that they will take samples from. This process takes us into January of next school year, so I will keep you posted as we continue through that process. The steps to the process are there for you to view as well.
Thank you. Lodi Primary School.
Yes, good evening. So you can see some of the pictures of the last couple weeks of school, which seems like so long ago already. But we had a great, busy end of the year. For Pillar 1, preparing for the future, I just wanted to highlight some of our school's SLOs. So you might remember this, so, we have our scorecard, which is kind of like the high leverage goals that we're trying to work towards. And then at the school level, the teachers do an SLO that helps us get towards those different goals that we're working on. And they all have the same one. So for example, 4K, this year, and actually all the grade levels, they really did stretch goals this year. So 4K is typically focused on uppercase letters. But with Act 20 requirements, they recognized that we really wanted to push more of the lowercase, so this year they added the lowercase goal. And so they had, at the end of the year, 83% of the students met their uppercase goal and 63 met lowercase goal. And again, we have not explicitly taught lowercase letters, and yet we're still getting this results as we're supporting what they're doing. Kindergarten, they also had a really big stretch goal this year. In the past, their goal has been for students in kindergarten to read and write 30 words. And with our phonics to reading program, they now have 58 high-frequency words. So kindergarten wanted to this year create a baseline to see, could they really stretch to this goal? So it used to be 30 words, and they had a goal of about 80% of the kids getting those 30 words. This year they said, let's have all of the high-frequency words, which is 58, and let's try to get 80% of the kids to get those 58 words. So it was a very, very, very lofty goal for them. With that being said, 63% of the kids were able to read 90% of the words, and 31% were able to write 90% of the words. One of the things that the kindergarten team found was that when you look at the data, there were 5 students that were not able to get 30 words. So last year's goal, they blew it out of the water with only 5 students not able to read. 5 students were not able to read at least 30 words. 2 are nonverbal students. And then there was 15 students that were not able to write 30 words. So, does that make sense? Does that, Deanna had asked those questions, so trying to explain all of this with the numbers and all of that. First and second grade, their goal was directly linked to the Act 20 requirements of Ames Web and focusing on fluency. And again, wanted to stretch with 75% of the students reading fluently. First grade, I apologize, I really didn't need to include, if you look at those two numbers, I really should have only included the 68.5% of the students met that goal. So I think there was, I know Adam, you had reached out to me, that 31.5, that's just the opposite of the other one. So we still had 68.5% of the students were at or above the 25th percentile, which for this first year, as we're focusing in on that, we were extremely happy with those results. In second grade, 71% of the students met that benchmark. So, Adam, does that answer those questions that you had sent me for that? We also, I just kind of wanted to highlight iReady. I was doing some data and looking long-term here at the percent of students in 21-22 compared to this year as far as proficient and advanced, and just had a lot of great celebrations looking long-term at that. Another quick highlight.
Awesome.
What?
It's totally awesome.
So, very excited.
It's amazing.
Pillar 2, we had a classroom challenge. The students, if they were able to show something that their class did that showed Lodi pride, they got to have their picture taken with the Blue Devil. So that was exciting there. And then the last one I just want to go down to is Pillar 5, our safety. We did a reunification training on our collaboration day. All of the Encore team and the assistants came in, and we were able to do a trial run with us. And just appreciated, we had some people from district office that came and acted as parents and students to help us, but just continuing to work on that practice there and appreciate our staff for all their work on that.
Thank you. And you know, when you said, oh my gosh, it was only the last week of school or whatever, I was talking to another mom and she was going over her schedule and with her daughter, and she's like, oh my gosh, summer is like it's flying by already. And the girl goes, Mom, it's the second day I'm home.
Feels like a month.
But no, I just thought that was funny, so. Thank you very much.
Yep.
That was awesome data
That
to
is
see all that. That's-
exciting.
Yeah.
And I just saw it in the newspaper a couple weeks ago, the Remember When is when we got approved to start 4K, which is just
Yeah.
crazy to think.
Oh,
Because I
wow.
believe
Yeah.
that was Kogan's class was the first ones, and they graduated last year.
Yeah, graduated last year, yeah.
wow.
Oh,
So-
wow.
So I started
It's
it before I
crazy.
became high school
It's
principal.
just, okay, it's just crazy
Wow.
to see that.
when that started.
Yeah, so, thank you.
Yeah.
Lodi Elementary and OSC.
Hello, thank you. So I think, Tyler, I gave a little challenge today. So I'm gonna, while I talk, you can choose to watch that if you'd like. But Kathy Klinke puts together these videos, and they are running in our school cafeteria and in our entryway, and they are just ways for our students to see themselves. And something that we've seen a lot come out of this is if you come see our students, our bathrooms, our hallways, and different things, I think they just see themselves all the time everywhere. So it's really helped them feel like it's their school. Sometimes we'll have, this student was in a race, and they won this race, and they drive car. There's a student who drives car. So we were able to put that on there one time. And so all these little things that happen that we don't even always know about each other, we can include on there. There's some videos of field day, but in my board report, some things I wanted to highlight were 5th grade graduation, LES and OSC. Just a great time. Our 5th graders were my first group that I've had all 3 years, and so it was just a really, they are ready, but it's a great group of kids that I know Derek's going to appreciate up there, and families. We had obviously a lot of fun activities going on towards the end of the year, but some other things that I wanted to highlight in my board report were just the end of this June board report. I always try to reflect a little bit, and so thank you again for trusting me. Thank you for the staff for being amazing, and like I said in there, I'm reminded each day how little I know, how much I need it, and how what is truly needed is nothing earth-shattering. And then also we had a celebration of our support staff, and so we were able to cover an extra time for them, and he's still running over there. And we were able to cover for them, and they were able to have a lunch together. And a big thank you to case managers Dawn Collins, Derek Stefani, Leslie Scheibach, and Abby Ballweg for covering for that. And in my towards the end of the year support staff meeting, we just focused on our celebrations and some things that we've seen this year. And so these are just some of the things that the support staff recognized as highlights. And then also wanted to highlight Mrs. Husnick and her retirement, and a little celebration we had for her. And that is all.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
I loved that on that field day when the cops came in and did the radar for the kids, and I was thinking, oh my God, my son would have been all over that. And my brother looks at me and goes, Sawyer would be all over that right now. And I was like, actually, that's true. The high schoolers would be totally.
They would have loved that.
17 was the fastest.
Oh, that's pretty good, wow.
There were 3 Huh?
Was that you?
Yeah.
I was tied for one of the fastest staff, but there was only a few of us who actually ran. we did not let Garrett Schreiber know that staff were running. So, it was myself, Miss Nimmo, and Miss Bushman tied for the fastest. 14 miles an hour.
Wow, and that's that bad.
That's impressive.
You can catch students.
I know, I was ready. I stretched beforehand.
Well, thank you. Middle school.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everybody. First thing I just want to point out is our 8th, so we had another career day. We had each grade level did a career day, and it's just a way that we're carrying out our community's vision within our strategic plan to make sure that our students are getting opportunities to learn about careers. So the way we do it at the middle school, you heard a little bit about this at the gallery walk, but the 8th grade had 4 different careers come in, and students rotate through, and they hear about a 20-minute presentation on each of those. And it's really just about helping them learn about like what options there are. It's not necessarily about learning exactly what they're going to do, but just learning about different options there are and what they may be interested in, and kind of fields in that area. Same thing for blended agriculture, kind of a lot of opportunities to learn about different careers, but I want to just point out Ms. Howell runs this on an extended contract. This is a class that doesn't occur during the school day. It actually occurs during the morning. This was actually a field trip that they took to the Midwest Outdoor Heritage Expo, where they learned about nature, being stewards of nature.
Where is that, Derek?
I do not even know.
Oh, I was trying to figure that out. It just looks like such a cool thing.
But this is, of course, I can't remember how many students she had, but I think she has like 15 or 16 kids that come in the morning. I think they do one trip in the summer. So just an awesome opportunity for our students to extend themselves if they're interested in that area. On to nurturing the whole child. So life skills covers a lot of different things. One thing that Mr. Bauer does an awesome job of is bringing in community resources. So he partnered with Sauk Prairie Healthcare, and they had a dietitian come in, and students worked together, and they worked on building nutritious snacks or energy bite in this case, which is a great hands-on learning opportunity for them. I'm going to go to the Lodi Middle School Celebration 2025. So this year our student celebration team had an idea that we should do an end-of-year all-school assembly to celebrate all the awesome things that our students did. There were some shout-outs to teachers during Teacher Appreciation Week. students typed up shout outs, and they had some students come down and read them. We played some minute to win it games. We have pride passes that we hand out to acknowledge positive behavior in our school. We did some drawings with those. So it was really just a great way for us to get together and celebrate our staff, and a great way to celebrate an awesome year that our kids had. Let's see here. Want to acknowledge our 7th and 8th grade band. They went to the Beyond the Notes Festival at the Kalahari. 77 students, 7th and 8th graders went up there. They actually played at the water park all day, and their concert wasn't until I think it was at like 6 o'clock at night. So Doc was a little nervous about that, but she said it went really, really well. The clinician said they played really well, and it's just a really great opportunity for them to have an authentic experience playing in front of a clinician. But it's really important that, they're building relationships, because that's how we're going to build these programs, is by the connections they make with each other. So I appreciate all the effort she put into taking them. I also want to acknowledge our music boosters. They put up $1,500 for our students, so be a little more cost effective for our families. Then, end of school year stuff, we hopped on buses and we went to the Kalahari, and it was just a beautiful day. And that last year we went to the Kalahari because Noah's Ark wasn't open. But this year, the Kalahari, we could go the indoor or outdoor, so it was nice that kids could really spread out, and it was a really beautiful day. And the kids were just super great. I'm so thankful for our families and the kids that we have, to be able to take them a place and just know that they're gonna do what they need to do to be successful. They're very inclusive of each other, so it was a really, really great trip. And then I wanna thank, district workforce. I just wanna thank our staff for all they do. The end of the year, like, they're running on fumes, and that's because they just give it their all the time, whether it's emotionally or physically or mentally. I know that there's a lot of naps being taken by Emily around the house these days, because she's trying to wind down from the year. But just thankful for, not just our teaching staff, but all of our support staff too. They're really just unbelievable people, and I just feel fortunate to serve along with them. And I didn't put it on here, but we also had our 8th grade farewell on Tuesday, June 3rd, which was just a way that we can celebrate our awesome 8th graders as they get ready to move on to high school and to bigger and better things.
I have a question. I don't know if I was talking to somebody on the school board here or somebody else. Do they still do the most growth from 6th to 8th grade?
They do not. So Mr. Zilker did that,
Oh,
and that
that
was
was
actually
Mr. Zilker's
one of the
thing.
things
Oh,
that I
okay.
had talked about with the 8th grade team of, like, that's a really cool thing, because they grow by some kids grow by like
Leaps and
4 or 5
bounds.
inches in 1 year.
So 2 of my kids won that. Logan grew this much in middle school, except for maybe a pinky of the paper. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. Oh, it was at the
Fun night
it
those.
was at the breakfast. Yeah, it was at the breakfast. We were talking about that.
Thanks, Derek. Lodi High School.
All right, thanks, Evan. First of all, I wanted to recognize a few staff and students. Sue Mefford, she's our athletic director, and if you know anything about spring sports, if you have experienced softball, baseball, or golf, there you have to contend with weather all of the time. And Sue does that really well, and she's very flexible about things. This is an email that I received from a softball umpire. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but if you have a chance to, I would. She makes the experience for our refs an exceptional place to be based on her communication, and that's one of the things that we always can do better. She does a really good job at that, and it's so nice to get someone recognizing that straight to Sue, even though it's very frustrating in the spring sometimes. She was thrilled to hear this from an umpire, so make sure you read through that. Then the second person is Jillian Gord, who's our new administrative assistant in the CRC, and actually Angie Griffin reached out to her because she was there presenting a scholarship on her senior honors night. And you can read the email, but she said by far this was the most organized night that she's experienced over the years. Has a lot to do with Jill. She handles all of the applications that students submit. She handles all the scholarships and all the givers. She puts together the program. She's making changes the day of because of people reaching out, and there's somebody else that's presenting or whatever. So there's a lot that goes into it, and I would agree, since I've been there, it was run really smoothly. So I just wanted to really appreciate Jill for all the effort that she put into it. Next page, Microsoft Office certifications. These are some of the same students that actually got some certifications last year, so congratulations to Tyler, Trent, Bentley, Matthew, and Mason for getting their Microsoft certifications in Ms. Ziegler's class. And then state qualifiers in track, I know Jason will probably talk about this in the co-curricular report, but we did have 3 that made state in track this year, and Izzy Bai, I believe, placed 4th in the discus. But also Natalie Kelly and Olivia Hayroth were lucky enough to do well enough to get to state. And then I wanted to appreciate Doug Haft and the drum line. I reached out to the 3 girls and asked them, are you guys interested? They had just graduated, so all they really care about is track right now.
Right.
Would you guys be willing to come back to school in the morning when you could be sleeping and be a part of a drum line? They're like, yes, we will be there. They enjoyed it. I thought it was great. So anytime we have an opportunity to recognize them. And then the kids that were involved in the drum line, it turned out to be a great experience for them. And then Senior Honors Night, I did want to talk just briefly about this. It happened May 21st. It was from about 7 till 9:30, so about 2.5 hours, and it was well worth the time. I did want to mention there were 52 kids that applied for scholarships, which is the most I've seen since I've been principal. And that had actually a lot to do with Ms. Gort as well, reaching out to kids and making sure that they did apply for scholarships. And over $124,000 were given out that night, which is a high mark. As far as I know, 119 scholarships were given out. And again, the efforts of Jill, Grant Lemke, all of our presenters, and then all of our senior families for raising great kids and helping them put themselves in positions to be awarded scholarships and receive other awards. And then you can kind of read through some of the things that happened that evening. So.
Well, and I remember being with that group during Lemke and Ms. Pauls was there, Paskey, I can't remember the others, for the scholarships. This was, everything's gone, I mean, the amounts have gone up significantly with several of them, so.
Right, and we made it a goal to make sure that students understood exactly what the process is like. We've done that in the past, but we feel like it was falling a little bit short and not enough kids were applying for scholarships. So it was one of our goals this year to make sure that as many kids as possible would apply. We even, there was somebody that reached out just recently that wanted to offer another $2,000 scholarship to our seniors. So we sent that out to our senior class and hopefully some kids are applying for that. So.
Yeah, it was,
That's
the
a nice
amount, some
chunk.
of the amounts were crazy.
Yes.
Crazy good.
Yes.
Crazy good.
I wanted to thank our other administrators for the graduation walk. So Amy, Eric, and Derek for allowing us to walk through their schools. And if you ever get an opportunity to see what that's like, it's kind of the highlight, even though graduation ceremony is really important. It's a highlight for a lot of our students to be able to walk through, see old, teachers that they had and get high fives from a lot of students that look up to them. So that was a great morning. And then you can see some of the pictures from the graduation walk that were taken by Audrey Parpart. And then the commencement ceremony, I say this every year, it takes a group effort to get through this. I basically just kind of plan it. I don't say a lot. I just kind of show up and run things. But the speeches were great from the students. I appreciate Heather and Vince speaking on behalf of the board and the district. You guys did a great job. Our class speaker, Mitch Hauser, which was, obviously, that's a perfect person to pick considering he is graduating himself from into retirement. He did a great job, and then all of our student helpers. Building and grounds, we finished setting up for graduation in about 35 minutes because of the number of student helpers that got there that morning. So we had like 15 kids that came from NHS and FFA that helped out, so that went really smoothly and quick. If you notice the sign on the bridge, it says class of 2025. It's kind of small as far as the picture, but that is a new sign. So appreciate all the efforts and that were put into that. That actually Joe from our building and grounds, Joe Folks, put together and worked with Jamie Licht in the Fab Lab to put that together, so they did a great job. And you can see all the pictures, including Caleb, your board rep right in the middle of all you guys.
Like, we're so proud sending them off.
Yes, and then of course we have senior yard signs, and we have the same groups that donate towards, so Lodi Music Boosters, Lodi Athletic Boosters, and the Lodi FFA, and the Optimist Club. And then I wanted to thank Pam Cunningham. She actually designed it this year.
Oh, she did?
Yes, she did, and she did a great job. And then seniors that helped put them out, which were Shelby Rip and Madison Berry. And then the final broadcast for the Advocate, if you haven't watched that, make sure you do. It's very funny. So, and that's high school.
Awesome, thanks, Joe.
Yep.
All right, our district administrator report.
Thanks, Heather. As the other administrators mentioned, end of the school year, I just want to thank our students, our staff, and our families for a great school year. The school year wrapped up officially June 4th for students and June 5th for staff. On June 5th, we were able to also recognize our retirees from the district. Special thanks to our retirees for their tremendous impact they've had on our students, our schools, and our school district community. We wish them nothing but the best. Julie Haig, our primary school EA, Lisa Husnick, who was teaching 3rd grade, and Mitch Hauser, high school social studies. The district also recognized the retirement of Carrie Riley, who's worked many years for the school district of Lodi's food service, but now works for Tahoe Food Service. We just wanted to appreciate her as well. The district is in the middle of a strategic plan refresh project. The strategic plan refresh committee has met twice. We're meeting again tomorrow night. The committee should be looking for information over the next several weeks on how they can provide input in this process, so stay tuned. Facility planning and community engagement process. A reminder, the Board of Education has contracted with C.G. Schmidt to help us with the facility planning and community engagement process. The board will have a special meeting on Wednesday to kick off this process. I've shared a master planning outline in board docs that kind of lays out the timeline the board will be following over the next 18 months. I've had board members say that's really exciting, and board members say that's really scary, and board members say it's both. District balance scorecards and school balance scorecards. We are putting our final touches on stop-letting those balance scorecards, and we're already starting the process of creating the balance scorecards for next year. As a reminder, these are the tools the district is using to implement the strategic plan. The new scorecards will come to the board in September. We will base our scorecards on the current strategic plan, and then we may need to tweak them based on what happens to the strategic plan refresh as we get that done. Referendum projects that are going on this summer. We are kicking off 2 major referendum projects, well, really 3. One at the high school. The roofing project has begun with the staging materials, which started last week. LAS OSC playground project is started also at the end of last week, but they're pulling out of the old equipment, and they'll be putting in new equipment this coming week. And in addition, we have some new cabling being done at the middle school, starting, I believe, not this week, but next week as well. In addition, the district administration gave the Facility and Finance Committee an update on the completed referendum projects that are slated for this school year, and projects that are still slated in the coming years at their June 3rd meeting. And then in front of every board member, this is our last meeting before we have the Lodi Fair. Isn't that hard to believe? It's a late meeting in June or July. So 2 years ago, the board decided they're going to select pieces of art at the Lodi Fair, which have been framed, which we've done now for 2 years. So asking board members to do that again. So I laid out different levels for board members. I'll put this on our weekly notes as well, but just to give it to you. So remember that you guys done a great job the last couple of years and doing that, taking pictures and sending them to Mo. So thanks for doing that.
It's a really hard job.
I know. I know.
It's all really hard.
It does. I take all
But
the
it's
time.
fun.
It is.
I love to look at them anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's fun.
And then just a reminder, district office and all office buildings will be closed the week from July 4th, and then the following week for cleaning and different things of that nature. We have the first 3 weeks of summer school, then there's a week break, and then the last 3 weeks of summer school after that. So, thank you.
Awesome.
Before you go, if you want more of Caleb, he's gonna call some of the bingo at the fair. So you can see him there.
You can have
Of course he is. Oh my God. Goes everywhere. That's awesome.
It'll be on his resume.
Just get
Yes.
You have to be there at like 4 though to get a seated bingo.
Oh, it's
I know.
intense.
Oh my
Not if you're, not if you're calling numbers, you can have plenty of room.
Walk in whenever you
How do
want.
you get signed up to do
No, it
that?
is intense. You gotta get there early.
Oh, yeah.
And have your little smudge thing.
And when I win at bingo, everyone knows. Really. All right, summer is finally here, and as you all know, it's going to fly by. So take it all in, make plans before the weekends are all filled up, and enjoy the memories that you are making. Now with the school year over, many of our students have signed up for summer school. I believe Lodi has a great summer school program, and I'm proud of what we are offering our students. It's a perfect blend of giving the kids some time for summer activities while still staying active and keeping them engaged in school learning. I want to thank all the staff and teachers that have and will be putting in time and effort for our students and the summer school program. I want to keep everyone updated on our strategic plan refresh process. We have met 2 times with our committee and have made a lot of progress. Like I stated before, our committee is starting with a small group of people, but the ultimate goal is to hear from as many community members as possible. We went over the original process that we went through 3 years ago and have discussed what the plan is for our refresh. We have started making a list of people that we plan on asking for involvement, whether that be to interview them, attend one of our info fairs, or to take our survey. The committee is compiling a list of people in our community, trying to make sure we are talking to people with diverse viewpoints, with different roles in the community, but ultimately we are trying to get as many aspects as possible. You don't have to be invited to participate. Please be on the lookout for more upcoming information on how you can share your thoughts and opinions with the district through this process. We would love to have as many people as we can participate. We have a lot of difficult decisions to make about our district with upcoming expenses, green space decisions, maintenance upgrades, and deciding what our district needs with the possible upcoming referendum. Making those decisions, knowing as many people's ideas and opinion, is going to make the process much more doable. Notice I did not say easy. You'll be hearing strategic plan refresh process from me a lot, since I'll be giving updates on the ongoing process with my school board president reports. Like I've mentioned before in previous reports, just because the school year is over does not mean our district is not working. Summers may be a little more flexible, but our teachers, administration, and staff are still in our buildings working from home, and putting time and effort into planning for our next school year. Our board and committees are still having meetings, discussing and making decisions for our district. Always remember to use our district website for a great resource, not only what is going on with our students, but what is happening with our district that affects our entire community. Our district is here to serve our students, and we want our community to feel educated and in the know when it comes to our district. And of course, don't ever hesitate to contact our administration and our board members with any questions or concerns you may have. Thank you to our entire community for supporting our district.
Before you move on to the next, just because of the reports and with summer school starting, I saw today, one of my kids' favorite things to do during summer school was saunters, Lodi Summer Saunters. And I read that they have their largest group of 115 kids this year. 115, yeah. So saunter on, as they say.
Saunter on.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's like a graduating class.
Yeah.
I'm just so impressed that they're all willing to, they work hard.
Yeah,
don't
they do,
just-
they hike
They don't
and,
just,
yep.
chit chat and walk around a block, they work hard.
They're like counting the days now
Yeah.
until it starts.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, normally 5 to 7 miles a day.
Yeah.
Only.
I know. Our hiking group goes 5 miles.
For the budget.
All right, so our 25-26 draft budget.
Yeah, so the Lodi Board of Education by state statute is required to act on approving a proposed budget around June of the prior school year, so we have to do it by July 1st. We have to adopt the budget by November of the current year. So as we look at our current data, for the 25-26 proposed budget, we are projecting a deficit, which was anticipated when we passed the referendum. The district is still waiting on some very important information, such as what's our student count on the third Friday of September, what's our state aid finalization, which we get October 15th, and what's the property value certification, which we got on October 1st. So we are just looking at as a proposed budget. We don't have that information, so but we do have to have it in place so we can start purchasing things starting July 1st. The Facility and Finance Committee reviewed the budget at their June 3rd meeting and unanimously moved to the full board recommendation of approval. Just a reminder, the board approves the final budget after the annual meeting when we have all that information. We look for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025-26 draft budget as presented.
No, second. You guys should first and second, I'm sure. Yeah, you did the work.
Motion by Sarah Ramish, second by Adam. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay.
It
motion
was very
passes
clear.
5-0.
I'd like to
She'll be
thank
back.
Mr. Brewer for all the work that he put in on that.
Yes,
Yeah.
And some of
Jason,
the
it was very clear, thank you.
visuals that he put together to make it as
Yeah.
clear as possible for people, so he did a
Well,
lot
and
of work
even
on that.
listening to when you say that we're gonna get more info in October, and I'm like, so right before the meeting, that's
That's
gotta be
usually how it
really
works.
fun.
And make sure all your kids show up.
Plug it all in
on
quick.
Third Friday.
Third Friday, no kids can be gone from school. They all must show up. Something like that.
All right, thank you very much. Food service fees.
Yeah, because the food service, district food service management contract was out to bid at the time that we did fees, the food service prices were additionally left out of the past discussion of school fees for the 25-26 school year to allow collaboration for the selected food service management company and our food service prices. Taher, who was selected, is working on driving up their participation numbers, so their proposed budget was based on not raising any prices this year. Facility and Finance Committee reviewed the information and moved to the full board recommendation approval. School District of Lodi 25-26 food service prices as presented, which are the same as they were last year.
Nice.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the school district of Lodi 2025-26 food service prices.
I'll
And I'll
second.
second.
Go ahead.
Motion by Terry, second by Adam. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Our open enrollment survey.
Yeah, so we continuously monitor open enrollment trends, both in and out of the district. The administration believes that now is an appropriate time to gather feedback from families who chose to open enroll into our district or out of our district. During the 24-25 school year, we had 110 students open enroll into the district, while 101 open enrolled out. For the current upcoming year, we have 110 students slated to open enroll in, and 115 who applied to open enroll out. Again, it's kind of like we just got done talking about with the budget numbers. Those are just a tentative. We don't know until people sometimes put in to open enroll in and then stay, or sometimes they put in the open enroll out and stay, who knows?
Yeah.
But we just think it's a good time for us to really kind of take a look at, to better understand the factors influencing decisions. Like I've talked to some families, right, that they had no intent, they've moved into Lodi, but they were in Wanakee their whole life, and they're staying in Wanakee, and they're just taking their kid back, and their child has never come here. And vice versa, we have kids who were in Lodi who may live in a different district, but have always gone to school in Lodi. So we just thought we'd.
Not always a good or bad reason.
Yeah, right?
Just
Sometimes just it's what happens to their families and what works for them, but we thought it'd be worth us taking a look at it. So I reached out to School Perceptions and the Donovan Group who both conduct enrollment surveys. The Donovan Group's proposal was a little more cost-effective. And I was able to talk to a district that had recently worked with them, and they thought it was a great process. They got some good information from them. So the Facility and Finance Committee reviewed this proposal at their June 3rd meeting and moved it to the full board with recommendation of approval.
And I thought this was a good time too, just because with
With
the
the strategic
referendum,
plan and-
just the more
Yeah.
info we can get about what people are looking for in our district, I think the better, so.
Well, I'll move to recommend to the full board, moving forward with the Donovan Group to conduct an open enrollment survey at a cost of $2,000.
I'll second that.
Motion by Terry, second by Teresa. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Policy review.
Yeah, so we have a couple policies, in accordance with Act 20, the Early Reading Act, which we hear about so often. All public school districts are required to adopt a written policy by July 1st, 2025, outlining the criteria for promotion of a student from 3rd to 4th grade. We already have a policy on 4th grade promotion and 8th grade promotion. That's in state statute. That still stays. But because Act 20 is K through 3, it has to do with 3rd grade, so now we have to add that as well. So we worked with Neola and looked at what they were offering, looked at what DPI had, and kind of crafted our own policy. Dr. Carls kind of led that process. So we have a policy, we have to put it in place. It has to be done by July 1st, so that will meet this requirement. The other policy, the 4th and 8th grade policy, we just added the reference that there is now a 3rd grade reading or a promotion policy in place as well. That's the only change to that policy. So we recommend approval.
The only thing I will say on this one, for the 5411 3rd grade promotion, that's our policy, correct?
Correct.
It should say, before the legal, at the very bottom, it should say School District of Lodi, or however it
Yep, you're right.
states. It's missing that, it's
Yep, we'll
missing
add
this
that.
piece.
Yeah.
So, that's the only piece that's missing that I saw.
All right. So I'll move to the full board the recommendation for adoption of the 3rd grade promotion policy, reading criteria, and accompanying reference in the 4th/8th grade promotion policy.
I'll second that.
Motion by Terry, second by Sarah Rip. Any more discussion?
Do we have to add that
We'll just add it.
notation
No.
needs to be added? Okay.
We'll just add it.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes 6-0. And we do not have gifts and donations, but as we saw from the field, or the fundraiser request, I think we've had a lot of donations.
Yeah, yeah.
So, thank you.
People
Big
have really
Yeah.
been in on it.
All right, our committee reports. We'll start with CISA 5.
I'll pass that around while I'm talking.
Okay.
Can you pass it all the way down? CISA 5 had 2 meetings. The May 15th meeting was the annual meeting where they figure out which schools are gonna represent their board. And all the same schools are there, and then they all elected to stay in, and there's only one rep that changed, so it wasn't like a big nothing burger kind of thing, it just took time, so. And then we had another meeting just the other day, and we talked about, the new tool to track kids' iReady forward exams, and there's one more, isn't there? Ames Web. So you could track individual students in the past, that wasn't a problem, but you couldn't track like a classroom from 3rd grade, and then how did that classroom perform in 4th grade, and then 5th grade and 6th grade, all the way up. And so CISA 5 is developing a tool that allows our people, our administrators, and teachers probably, or probably administrators, to track those kinds of things, so you can see, is it that class? Is there something going on in a certain grade, or what?
Yeah.
Is it the curriculum that's used here or there that's making things change? And you can see
That's
where ups and
great.
downs are. And you can compare it to other schools, and you can compare it to the national average and the state average. So-
And that'll be for us to use free through
Oh, I
CISA
doubt it's
5?
gonna be free. The
Silly
cost will
me.
be very low.
Silly me.
The cost is always very
It'll
low.
be
We will,
there, yeah.
analyze that and see if that would be a good tool for us or not, the cost.
Exactly.
So we have next path, so we have a lot of data analyzing tools right now, so
Right.
Okay.
we'll see.
And this particular one isn't done yet, they just showed
Right.
us a preview of it, so. And then CISA 5 always has tons of things they're doing for the teachers and paraprofessionals and admins. But that particular one I sent around is one that board members might want to attend. A lot of board members do attend that one, so. And if any of the board members did want to attend that, the school district would pay you to go, so, yeah. So if it's of interest to you, just let them know and they will sign you up.
Can,
I will say, Adam, one of the most amazing things about that tool
Yeah.
that he was using when they were showing it to the group of superintendents.
Right.
And I shared this at
Would
the
you- and then send
meeting the other day,
Yes.
right?
That's what you were talking
The
about?
really cool thing is when they were showing different schools,
is that?
and then we were able to, like, they kept looking at the top line, and the superintendents kept asking, who was that top line, and I was able to go, and I finally like, okay, click on it.
So that was the one that
It was,
we
yep.
found?
That's what, yeah, you were talking about that.
Yeah.
Facility in front of
Yeah,
you.
it's a great tool.
Yeah.
No, this is a great
So,
district.
yeah, did you tell the whole story? Did everyone hear that though? We talked at the committee, but that.
No, I
that's
talked
what
at the
we heard.
whole,
Yeah,
at
what was
the
that?
staff
Oh,
breakfast.
that's right, you did,
Breakfast.
yeah.
Yes, we were at a meeting at CISA with a bunch of superintendents, and they were looking at this new data tool, and they were like, being able to compare districts, and they were looking at the middle district, some in the middle, and they're like, who's that district on top? And they kind of ignored the question and kept going, and then they asked, somebody else asked, well, who's that district? And then the presenter kind of looked at me, and I'm like, she clicked on it, and was like,
Vince said, right
right
here.
here. No, I said, right there,
Yeah,
right there.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I meant everybody,
Yeah,
not
it
just you.
was awesome.
They weren't there.
You were
so-
at the
No,
meeting.
I was at
You
the
were
meeting.
representing us.
It was, yeah, it was a
That's
good
awesome.
meeting. I just walked out drinking.
Nice to not have to ask who's a
Drop the
bottom.
mic, drop the mic and walk away.
So, that's why when they showed it to us, they chose a different CISA and different
Yeah.
schools. So we wouldn't recognize it, so,
That's awesome. Well, thanks, Adam.
yeah.
Co-curricular items report.
Okay, well, we'll start. That's me
It's
now.
Sarah.
Yeah. The Lodi baseball team finished the season with an overall record of 18-6 and a conference record of 6-2, taking home the conference championship. The team earned a 6th seed in the WIAA playoffs. The Blue Devils hosted number 11 Richland Center on Thursday, May 29th, in the first round of the playoffs, coming away with a 4-2 win. In the second round, Lodi took on number 3 McFarland, coming away with a 6-2 victory. Then on Thursday, June 5th, Lodi hosted number 7 Mount Horeb in the regional final, taking home a regional championship with a score of 12-2.
Way to go.
Tomorrow, the team will be headed to sectionals in the Dells. Their first game will be against number 1 Reedsburg at 10 a.m., and if they win, they're going to play in the sectional final at 4 p.m. that's all very cool.
It's all very cool.
Softball, the Lodi softball team finished the season with an overall record of 15-9 and a conference record of 6-2. The team earned a number 3 seed in the WIAA playoffs. The Blue Devils hosted Bigfoot in the first round of the playoffs, coming away with a 12-2 victory in six innings. The season came to an end in the regional championship with Lodi losing number 2 to number 2 Poinet by a score of 7-3. Girls soccer, the girls soccer team finished the season with an overall record of 8-4-2 and a conference record of 2-3-1. The team earned a number 7 seed in the WIAA playoffs. On Thursday, June 5th, the Blue Devils hosted number 10 Living Word Lutheran, coming away with a 1-0 victory. The season came to an end this past Saturday in the regional finals in a 2-0 loss to Ozaki/Random Lake. Moving on to track and field. The track team participated in the regional track meet on Tuesday, May 27th. The girls' team walked away regional champions, with 19 of the 21 girls advancing to sectionals, which is pretty fantastic.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, and the boys' team finished in 5th place, which is also great. On Friday, May 30th, the boys and girls track teams participated in the Division II sectional in McFarland. The boys' team finished in 30th place, and the girls' team finished in 9th place. Olivia Hayroth, Natalie Kelly, and Izzy Bai advanced to the Wisconsin State Track and Field Championships this past weekend. Senior Izzy Bai ended the weekend with a 4th place podium spot in discus.
Good for her.
The Lodi golf team finished their season in 3rd place in the highly competitive Capital Conference. On Tuesday, May 27th, the team traveled to the Prairie du Chien Regional, finishing the day in 7th place to end the season. And finally, the lacrosse co-op finished the season with an overall record of 3-15 and a conference record of 0-8. They earned a number 20 seed in the WIAA playoffs and lost to number 13 Sun Prairie by a score of 6-4. So overall, the sports teams are doing fantastic, and they finished off the year really in a really great place.
If you're nothing to do tomorrow, go watch the baseball team,
Yeah,
10 o'clock in
there you go.
Wisconsin Dells.
Must be nice tomorrow, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's a great day to watch baseball.
Yeah.
Lodi baseball.
Yes, exactly. OSC.
All right. So on May 21st, the OSC board met in OSC. The meeting consisted of OSC update. Project night was a success. Have finished spring assessment, forward ready, and Act 20. Discussed the amazing field studies students have experienced this year and highlighted some recent and upcoming field studies. Finished trips to Kingfisher Yoga, School Forest, Kurt Wilson joined. Gores Park, they did the fish shocking with the DNR, measured them and did all that good stuff, I love that. Wisconsin Dells Boat Tour. Mr. Schoeneman shared improved attendance procedures and was a success. All school recess, a big success, fifth and sixth grade math meet successful. 4th and 5th bullying prevention efforts. And Stride with Pride, try that again, even if I tried.
3 times
Stride
fast.
with Pride event was a success. OSC fundraising, the lemonade jelly update, good sales at project night. Sell remaining jars at National Night Out is one of the possibilities there. And a lemonade stand at the fair, and Sign Up Genius is created and has been shared with families for signing up for the lemonade stand, because that's always a big issue, and it's a hit at the fair. So, next OSC board meeting is Thursday, June 26th at 1 to 3 p.m., 1 to whenever, at Mary Klein's house. So,
Can I ask a question?
Busy.
About the lemonade stand? So I don't know if maybe I missed it, but I don't recall receiving that, invitation. And I don't know if OSC like sends it out to alums' parents or not?
Current, but we will for sure send it to some alum.
Cause I mean, like, my kids and I would be happy to sign
I was
up
gonna
and
say,
and
that's
help
probably
with
a
the
really good
lemonade stand.
idea.
A lot of alumni people and kids run that lemonade stand, so you should send it to alumni.
I mean, it's possible they already did, and I just didn't see the email,
No,
but
I
I don't
think we just
recall.
sent it to families first. We had a lot of good interest to
Oh,
start.
good, okay.
Good.
We wanna make sure people
They're
have
gonna be at the
opportunity.
fair anyway.
Yeah.
So we're gonna send it out to others as well.
Well, I just remember last year, we were really
Yep.
struggling to get
Right.
people to
Yeah.
sign up, so that's, if people are signing up, then that's good.
Yeah. I wanna buy some of that lemonade.
That's awesome.
Lemon
Thank
cake
you.
and lemon jelly.
All right, so now our board committee reports. So personnel has not met since the last meeting, but we can start with curriculum.
Okay, so the curriculum committee met on May 28th, and these are the sort of the highlights of the things we talked about. There was a discussion about the German exchange program, which included its background, structure, and the rubric that's currently being used for student selection. The program coordinators and administrators were in attendance, and they provided an overview of the application and interview processes, including how the rubric scores are determined. Concerns had been raised by a hosting family, which one of those individuals came to the meeting during the public comments and kind of shared their experience, some of their concerns. So the committee members recommended a review of the current rubric, which was originally created over a decade ago and passed down through multiple coordinators. The committee supported the idea of a rubric review across all exchange programs, including the Germany, Spain, and Thailand programs, by the respective program coordinators. There was a discussion about the Act 20 promotion policy, which we discussed earlier in this meeting. Sixth grade social studies adoption proposal, which is a proposal to adopt TCI social studies as the core program for sixth grade. The resource aligns with the current fourth and fifth grade curriculum and the digital license for 3 years, and consumable workbooks, which come to a cost of $800 a year, which were included in the curriculum budget. There was an approval of the annual textbook, including the sixth grade TCI resource. We also discussed the draft of an advanced learner services plan outline, aligning with Neola policy and DPI guidelines. The plan outlines identification processes, service options, and includes a parent referral form. Our next meeting will take place on June 11th at 4:30 in the high school library.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and that was a really good discussion, I felt like we had,
Yeah.
you guys had at, about the rubric and all
Yeah.
that, I think it was.
I think it makes
was nice
sense
that
to
the
refresh
parent team
it.
had shared their experience too,
Yeah.
so.
And it was good to hear from a parent who had the experience, you know, and get that
Yeah.
feedback, so.
Facility and finance.
We just met, yeah. The first thing on our agenda was go over the 22 referendum. We keep talking about this new referendum coming up, but at the last board meeting, there was a long discussion during the bathroom stall thing, and to me, it sounded like we didn't know what was on our referendum, and we might trade projects and stuff like that. There's none of that's happening. We're gonna pay for all of the stuff. We are gonna do all the things that are on the referendum in 2022, and we know what all those projects are. And so the district website, we're gonna update that with a little more detail, so you can see all of that stuff on there, so. But we went over all of that stuff in the committee, so. We talked about our property liability insurance, which we just approved, the open enrollment survey, what we just approved, and we also had a discussion, quite a long discussion, about all of the facility planning process that's coming up. So green space was a big thing, right? So Scott wasn't on that committee for a while, and so he wanted an update about all the green space, the discussion that had happened while he wasn't on there. But then we also talked about the PAC and the CTE and all the other areas, the wrestling, the pool, all of it for the upcoming referendum and all of that stuff. So seeing the thing that Vince posted about the timeline in his report, that's why it's a little scary, because there's a lot of stuff to discuss and get through
Yeah.
this end, but also on the community side also.
Yeah.
And hearing from experts, as you just mentioned, plus hearing from admins, and there's a lot of stuff to be done before the next referendum, so
Yes.
that's why I find it scary. Anyway, and we talked about food service, and that was it.
Awesome, thank you. Policy.
Policy, we went through the few that we had.
We did them.
All right. So our future meetings, let's see, we have our curriculum committee meeting is going to be this Wednesday at 4:30 at the high school, LMC, change of venue. And then after that, we're going to have a special board meeting at 5:30. And then, it does say policy committee.
Yeah, I was
That's
good.
wrong.
That's policy,
wrong.
yeah,
We don't have
canceling-
one.
So we don't
no,
have
canceling
any policy coming up.
Nope.
No
Okay.
policy.
All right, and then our next regular school board meeting is going to be Monday, July 14th, 5:30 close, 6:30 open.
Yeah, that's why, the fairest.
Yeah.
And then then our Personnel Committee is going to be Tuesday, August 7th at 4:30, followed by Facility and Finance at 6 o'clock. And I do not believe we do not have to go into closed session.
Then I will make a motion to adjourn.
And I was second.
Motion by Sarah Ramish, second by Adam. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes 6-0. We are adjourned.
So policy is always on Wednesdays now, because I think I have in my calendar.
It is.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Are we gonna, so no policy in, I had the 25th
No
for some
policy in
reason.
July.
We did,
Oh, so
that's why I'm gonna move this one.
delete this one only. Okay, so